I bet, as an Indian student who has been studying general knowledge, this one question would surely hit their question paper, and that asked, who is the first Indian who won the Booker Prize? And she is none other than Arundhati Roy for her debut novel, The God of Small Things in 1997. Well, I know you are enough smart to understand about which book I have been reviewing today. Ta-da! And this book is The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy. So without any further delay, let's get started. Hello everyone! Thank you for visiting ATP, that is Among the Pages, where I talk about the books and the content written among the pages. Well, as we have already discussed, the book which we'll be reviewing today is The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy. Well, to be honest, let me first say, rather than calling it just a novel, it would be better calling it a whole lot of mixture and spectrum of emotions perfectly written in poetic form and a whole lot of metaphors. Well, before beginning this book, I would highly suggest we go to the actual summary, that is the official summary given behind the book. I would certainly read the last line from the summary, which actually say the laws that laid down who should be loved and how much when the love laws were made. Yes, so kindly remember this one sentence throughout the book, that is love laws. This word comes across all the book and gradually increases its intensity throughout the book and even in the climax. Now you must be wondering what love laws actually are. Well, you will actually understand it only when you proceed further reading this book. But as a preface, it is highly recommended for you to understand what actually love laws are. Love laws here, according to Arundhati Roy, is the love between the caste system, the people from upper caste and the people from the lower caste, and how it has gradually and intensively caused a whole lot of problem, the whole lot of inclination towards people, and how it has affected the children. This book actually revolves around two people, that is Rahel and Estefan, and their mother. In this story, their mother falls in love with a person doomed to be of lower class in Kerala named Velutha. Well, to be very honest, this part of the story comes only in the ending. The beginning part of the whole book is completely divided and broken, but I would highly suggest to please continue reading this book. When I first read it, I read this book in 3 installments because I never actually understood how the plot actually was navigating. It took me a whole lot of time to actually understand how the narrative was actually leading to the very climax, that is a love between their mother and Velutha. I would highly recommend to read this book in one sitting. Yes, people, this book would be more effective if you tend to read this book in just one go. Only then will you understand how things actually are being narrated by the author. Well, now, without further delay, we'll discuss about how the characters have been portrayed in this book. Well, according to my opinion, in this book, the characters and the characterization is in epitome. Each and every character was clearly described, and Arundhati Roy was clearly putting into her mind that how the character was actually exhibiting their opinions and the navigation. But let me be honest, some characters really seem dumb. Yes, it's exactly true. They seem so lot of dumb that you do not even expect them to be existing in an Indian society. And this book revolves around a very smaller plot which is stretched and exasperated to the whole lot of book. Sometimes you may literally feel lot bored and tend to think that about what is the author actually writing about. So this is the actual reason why I have asked you to read this book in just one go. But let me be honest in this matter of fact that this book has a whole lot of poetic lines which you need to annotate. Yes, friends, exactly true. You need to annotate a whole range of letters and whole range of words, whole range of vocabulary which was actually put into this book. I bet this was the main reason why this book was elected and has won the Booker Prize. This book doesn't go into a proper narration. It leaves a whole lot of divided dichotomous branches which you tend to understand only in the last 5 to 6 chapters. So people, you need to understand how this then whole narrative has been put, how the plot has been woven, how Ayamanam, yes, Ayamanam is the village in Kerala around which this whole book revolves. And the series of instances, the whole chronicles of Marxist ideas, how love and marriage ties were compared to caste systems in India, and how narrow and fragmented were the thoughts of people even today. So that is basically described throughout in the first 3/4 part of the book. Well, there are certain instances where you literally feel very sorry for the characters. You are in such situations where you cannot judge how the characters, whether they are good or are they taking decisions which are really bad. Sometimes you feel so sad for Amu, who is the mother of the two basic characters, that is Rahel and Estefan. Sometimes you really feel sorry for Velutha, who is the lower caste person. But sometimes you again feel a whole lot of anger against these two people who have, that is Amu and Velutha, who have put all their family aside and just have given priority to their love. The whole families have been shattered. There is no one person who is very inclined to relations. Except for Estefan, who is more inclined towards relationships. Nobody in this book, or no character in this book, are so much interested in maintaining their relations even with their mothers. Putting all this aside, considering only the literature and the way the story and the plot have been presented, I can completely say The God of Small Things is not about small things, but really big things. After reading this book, I completely acknowledge the matter of fact that in our lives there are no big things. Big things matter less, but the smaller things, that is the relationships, the love, the affection, the hatred, or anything, these seem to be very small, but they actually fragment our lives so much. So this is what actually the author tries to convey from this book. Well, on Goodreads, this book has got a rating of 3.9. But for me, this is an average rating of 4.3 out of 5. The 0.3 plus marks are only for the highest form of literature which was used in this book. The wordings, the vocab, the sentences, the poetic lines, the metaphors, and the imageries are absolutely stunning. At least to acknowledge how literature was put into this book, you must read this book. After reading this book and the characters will literally haunt you, and I completely agree with that. Yes, it was 2 to 3 days for after reading this book, I was completely into the whole lot of sad and melancholic thoughts. But later I came across the truth behind what actually was put into this book, that is the relations. So this book majorly describes how relations must be maintained or else they would shatter, and how narrow are the thoughts of people in India, at least in their village, and how things haven't been changing even after a whole range of years being gone. So this was my overall review on The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy. I will be glad if you put your valuable comments in the comment section, and do let me know how things have been, but if at all I could manage to improve my skills of explaining things or reviewing books. I thoroughly appreciate Arundhati Roy for winning, and I still congratulate her for winning a Booker Prize. Thank you very much for watching ATP.